Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Amy. Good morning, Lexa. Hey, Dizzy. Exciting day, guys. Exciting day. Very excited to get into what we're going to do today. As you know, we're doing a pretrial conference where we give background on a case that's coming up. And this particular case is starting next week. Um, Jury selection is supposed to be Monday, and then the trial is supposed to start on Tuesday. And there's a lot going on but a lot of it has been under gag order. So um, we're going to try to give you some background and try to give you information on the case, and hopefully we help you when we're going into it next week, so you have a better idea of what's going on. And as you know, Shannon always does um, this pretrial conference with me. But this week, we have a super special guest. So thankful that she came on. I really appreciate her. She's been so supportive since we've been doing this journey. Kerri Rawson. So excited to get into this. And without further ado, let me bring on Shannon and Kerri. What's going on, guys?
Good morning.
I have my coffee. This is going to be the coffee Zoom.
That's all right. Have your coffee. We're
Same.
we're big fans of coffee. We're drinking it all the time.
Like some college cup. Literally, this has followed me for like 23 years. So
Those are the best ones. You start to get your favorites. So yeah, we all have like
yeah,
10,000 mugs, but you have like three that are in the rotation that you're using all the time.
yeah, yeah. It's a little bit coffee stained. So
That's all right. Well, but for those who don't know, Kerri, I'll go by your Twitter bio here. Writer, survivor, fighter, advocate, New York Times bestseller for the book A Serial Killer's Daughter. I put it in the chat, guys. Please check it out. I also put in tonight, guys, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dateline with Keith Morrison. Kerri's going to be on. That's fucking
yeah,
crazy. That's awesome. Congratulations. Tell
yeah.
us about it.
Oh, it's crazy balls. So my life's just gone nuts because of Kohberger connections with my father and this professor, Dr. Ramslin, that Kohberger studied under at DeSales in Pennsylvania. And Ramslin wrote a book with my dad. That's a very weird thing to say. So I started speaking up about Kohberger and Ramslin and all this stuff in January, and it was Brian in on literally. I put like some kind of statement. December 30th is when Kohberger was arrested. New Year's Eve, news was breaking. I was like, I'm about to become news. So I got ahead of it, made some big long statement on Twitter, and Brian in contacted me like 15 minutes later, and I didn't know him at all. And by New Year's Day, I was national news, and
Wow.
that's just like I literally was on my landline. My kids were like here in my apartment because it was my day to have them, and I'm literally on the landline becoming news.
Wow.
Um, and so since then, everything's just gone crazy. And so Dateline reached out probably in March. I think it's when we started developing it. The producer Shane Bishop reached out and said, I have these ideas, and who do you think might want to come on? So, I recommended like Gary Bricado and Greg Cooper, who's the director of the Cold Case Foundation, people I've connected with just in the last months. So they were able to be on, and then Jennifer Coffindaffer's on there. I work with her. And then in April, then Dateline sent a crew to me in Florida. So I didn't even have to go anywhere.
Wow.
Yeah, they like brought somebody up from Miami, two guys up from Miami. They flew a guy in from New York, and they set up a studio, basically a mobile studio inside like a place where you might have weddings and stuff. And they put Keith on this big monitor and zoomed him into me. And then
Wow.
I see how I slouch. And so they raised Keith so that I would not slouch, so that I would have to look like this. So literally I need to raise my screen so I will not slouch. And it was 2 hours, no breaks, no cuts, no edits, just
Wow.
me and Keith. It was like me and Keith, and it was all dark, and there was like these bright lights on you, and I couldn't see anything, and there were cords and like thousands of dollars of equipment around you, and I was like, okay, I cannot even get up and move because I'm going to break
Holy.
everything.
It almost sounds like an
Yeah.
interrogation. That's wild.
Yeah, it was a Keith Morrison interrogation because I've done two other documentary work, and we took a lot of breaks and edits and cuts and okay, you can go get coffee. No, this was like 2 hours. Keith, yeah, it was intense.
I bet. Well, guys, the link is in the chat. Make sure you check it out tonight, 9 p.m., right? 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dateline. Check it out,
Yeah.
guys. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a great show. So make sure you check it out.
I see
Um,
some of you saying that you downloaded her book or you got her book. You were really, it's really how true crime should be written, because there is so much of your life in there, Kerri. You were so candid about your growing up and how it affected you. And it shows us that all the people that are in these things are just human beings. And we're just all trying to do our best. And there are no perfect victims and there are no perfect families. And I know you all are going to just love this book because it is just, it's so the heart. It's your heart and it's beautiful.
Yeah, you're from Kansas originally, right?
I am. I lived in Salina.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
I've
that's the
driven
Salina's
through.
like an hour north of where I grew up in Wichita. So
Yeah.
yeah, very familiar. So
yeah.
no, I
So,
appreciate what
uh,
you're saying. Like I'm just me, and this has been my life, and I've learned to deal with it the best that I can and manage it and write about it. So it's not, it's you're talking about something that happened 18 years ago, and then became started talking in the media almost 10 years after my father was arrested. So I started in the media in 2014, and then it took like 4 years to learn to write and deal with what I needed to write about. So it's not something that just happened overnight.
well, thank you so much for sharing everything with us. And so for now, guys, let's get into this case. Shannon made a timeline, so let me pull that up. Let's see here. All right, Shannon. So can you see the timeline on your end? You want to
Yes, I can.
kind of go through this? This is
Sure.
Illinois versus Timothy. How do you spell it? How do you pronounce his last name? Is it
I think it's Bill by Bilfinick. That's probably going to become a running joke on this.
that's Bliefnick, babe? What did you have? What do you
Ble-
have?
I think on Fox they said Bliefnick. I don't know.
Bliefnick.
I
Yeah.
know. I don't know where they're getting. I don't know.
Maybe just call him the Family Feud killer because
Yeah,
that's
Yeah.
well, we could do that.
pronounceable.
So Illinois versus
Yes.
the Family Feud killer. All right, babe. So why don't you give us a rundown what you got
Okay.
here?
So in 2009 is the when Tim and Becky got married. In between there, they had children. They have, do they have four or three? No,
Three
I'm blank.
boys.
Three, yes. So they have three boys. Um, and they, he happened to go on with his immediate family in 2019. I don't have this on the timeline, but he went on Family Feud with his mother, his father, and his two brothers. And then they aired that in January 2020. So we're going to show that video later. Right after 2020, in 2021, Tim actually files, he's the plaintiff, he files for divorce from Becky. And then September 1st, 2021, there's a order of protection against Becky filed by Tim. And then they kind of exchange orders of protection because October 7th, they go back in. Becky files for a PO against Tim. Both of those are dropped. Both of those are closed in 10 on 10/22/21. And then actually right after that, Becky files again for a protective order against Tim, and this time also against her father-in-law, who was also on Family Feud. His name is Raymond. And so after that, basically what I wanted you to get the feel of is in this short, couple years, this was a very contentious divorce because they went to court or had appearances or motions where their lawyer is going to court and they're getting billed for it and they're having to talk to their ex. So in 2021, they went 26 times. That's outrageous. In 2022, they went 12 times. And then February 4th, 2022 is when the protective orders were closed. And then about a year later is when they go for a court appearance. I thought this was notable. They go for a court appearance on February 15th. February 23rd is when Becky is murdered. A lot of times you will see a murder happen pretty close window of some type of court appearance or law enforcement in action. So she's murdered, multiple gunshots in her home. And they searched Tim's house finally on March the 1st, finally have probable cause to search his home. And then on March 13th, he's arrested. And then holy bananas, it's like so fast, but May 22nd, we are going to have a trial.
And I know, Kerri, you were telling me, so basically everything has been in a gag order, right? That there's pretty much nothing out at this point. Like there's
Yeah, everything. If you go look, I have the court records bookmarked, and if you go look, everything is just sealed, 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 gagged. Even like the divorce records, the protective orders. When I've talked to journalists who are trying to cover this, it makes it almost impossible to cover because there has been no new information since his arrest. We don't even see the PCA, the probable cause affidavit. Like at least in Kohberger, we have access to that in the search warrants. We have nothing. Like this judge has sealed everything.
So basically, I mean, this trial is going to start next week. Monday's jury selections, Tuesday is supposed to start, and we're just going to learn everything together. Like there's almost essentially nothing out. So that's just and from what the article you sent me said, there's 60 to 70 witnesses. I mean, this is going to be a crazy trial, it seems like.
I don't even know why would they need that many witnesses? Like, unless they're bringing every forensic person in. I'm trying to wrap my head around that. That's like Vallow witness or Murdoch numbers.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. Like, this is going to be forever. Like, how could that be? It doesn't seem like there's no financial crimes. There's nothing like, I mean, there's nothing that, I don't know, that would add to that many witnesses, but I guess we'll see. But I did want to pull up this website that Shannon found for award. This is the victim here, Becky, and she won an award for extraordinary award, nurses, the Daisy Award. And I guess this is a testimonial from someone who had come in and said, "My husband came to the ER for what we thought would be an in and out day. He was bitten by a spider, and the bite was very swollen, causing him a lot of pain. It was during the coronavirus, so I was not allowed to come with him. After a few hours of multiple tests, he called saying they were going to take him to surgery. I needed to come right away. He had gangrene and was septic. When I got to his room in the ER, it was empty. I lost it and started to cry. All I could think of was, man, I may never see him again." His nurse Becky came over and said, "Don't cry, it's going to be all right. They just took him to surgery. If we hurry, we can catch them." We are hurrying down the hall, and Becky said, "We can run if I wanted to." So half jogging, we went down the hall of the elevator. They were just taking him to the surgery doors. As we came down the hall, I got to kiss him and tell him how much I loved him because of Becky. There are no words to express how grateful I am to her for what she did for me and my husband. She is truly an amazing nurse. So that's a really nice testimonial to Becky, who is the victim in this case. So, babe, did you have any other information about Becky that you wanted to add about her or Kerri?
I just was going to say that this was not a posthumous award. She won this while she was alive and working, so she must have been an amazing nurse, especially she went into nursing right during the pandemic.
Wow.
Yeah. So the Facebook tea, so in February when this happened, it was local news. Muddy River News broke it. It's a small town, Quincy, Illinois, and it doesn't have a lot of crime, or violent crime. So this is pretty massive, major for there. And I don't exactly know how they're going to get a jury that's going to be neutral, because the whole T on Facebook for months has been extremely pro Becky. A lot of people changed their profile pics to her. They made like, banners and things for her, for justice for her. It was a photo of her and her three sons. And the T right away coming out of Facebook was that this was a domestic violence situation that had gone very, very bad. So everybody I know, 99% of people believe Tim is guilty. So it's going to be interesting to see because we don't actually have any evidence of that. It's just been the community's assumption. There's been a lot of talk that Becky was in a domestic violence situation. She had a protective order at one point against Tim. That is sealed, and against her father-in-law, which is very weird to me. And like he lived down the street from them, I think, Shannon. We don't even really know what that was about. And then we don't know were those lifted or did Tim have one? I mean, you said like there was like years of ongoing insane divorce proceedings here. I can't imagine what their kids have been through. And then what we do know is that she dropped him off at school. She came home and then they found her gunned down, I believe with three gunshots, but I'm not sure. But she was literally just gunned down in her home. And my guess is his DNA would have been in that home anyway, picking up kids and things like that, trace evidence being moved around. I know they were asking for cameras and things, but it took a couple weeks, as you said, for them to even get a search warrant for his house. And they arrested him. I mean, they brought him in for questioning and then they had to let him go. And then almost a month later, close to a month, is when they arrested him. But we were all waiting, like literally Facebook, everybody has already condemned and convicted Tim. So like, I know I sent an article to Jay the other day that the judge was saying, like, he's dealing with social media justice warriors, right, Jay?
Yeah,
Like, he's dealing with all of us, like, very pro Becky camp.
I mean, I feel like the judges got to get on. Like, that's the life now, pal. That's how this is going to be. Like, you got to adapt here. But yeah, that's what I saw. It's a crazy article. I guess that's why a lot of this is all under gag order because he's just trying to like maintain his courtroom. I guess I don't know.
I feel like if a mom and a nurse is gunned down in her home by her estranged ex-husband, there's going to be some justice warriors up
Yeah,
here.
for sure.
You know what? So we're all going to be in there. Like we all were in there advocating right away for Becky and her family and trying to get media on it and then stick with it. And, like we get into the court records and then we're like, hey, this is going on. Hey, there's, there's a search warrant or hey, he's being questioned, and we'll ping that back to media. And because they're trying to keep track of like 1,000 things, and we're maybe trying to keep track of like 100. So we're just over there pinging them like, hey, this guy needs to be arrested.
Right.
Babe,
do you know how old the kids? There's 3 kids, 3 sons. Do we know how old they are?
Yeah. I don't know, like probably between like the ages of like 6 and 12. They're not very old.
Yeah, and they're elementary age.
Yeah, their photos have been out there in some places. Some places they've been blurred. And I appreciate. I think the media in general have been very respectful of those kids and of Becky's family. There's been some good interviews with like Becky's colleagues that were talking about domestic violence and on issues she was having with Tim. I honestly can't imagine who else would have done this. The one interesting thing is the defense lawyer is Tim's old divorce lawyer.
I couldn't believe that.
So I don't understand that. Like, does she do both divorce and criminal defense? And she's a little bit wacky.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do,
she's interesting.
You think like that's something you should focus on, being a criminal defense attorney instead of like, what is this, Better Call Saul? Like you gotta focus here. That doesn't seem like. I guess that's another reason this trial will probably be a little interesting to see what she's gonna be all about.
Yeah, there's probably a little bit of gossip tea there with her and Tim. So I'm not sure where the line is on YouTube with that, but we're just gonna have to see what happens in court. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess what I'll pull up now is what everyone wants to see if you haven't seen already. Here is the guys. This is him. This is him on Family Feud, in his bow tie. This is just...
Talk to 100 married people. What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do.
Let me start that again. What is the biggest mistake he weighed at... So, if you're wondering why it's the Family Feud killer, there you have it. So, that was his appearance on the Family Feud, if you can believe that. And then, you know, what he allegedly did now. So, it's just a wild thing that... That's why they're calling that. And by the way, if you've seen him now, he looks a lot different.
Oh, totally different. Something happened. Something had to happen in that timeline with the divorce, because he goes from that clean-cut family guy, well, Mr. Jokester, but
right,
to like hippie whatever. I'm assuming there's got to be some things that have happened here, mental health issues, drugs, something. I'm speculating, folks. I'm speculating.
Well, babe, what was the information you found about him, about the theater? That was some interesting stuff you found, right?
Yeah. So around 2017, I guess he had done theater when he was in high school, and around 2017, he gets involved in the Quincy Community Theater, which they look to have a really nice community theater. They had a great page. They since have removed all photos of him from their pages, but of course it's the internet, so I could find a couple of them. But he had not been involved. And then in 2017, in the playbill, he gets involved in a play, and it's called Vanya, Sonia, Masha, and Spike. And it's kind of a comedy that is about the Chekhov siblings, the Chekhov characters living together in this house. And then there is one character, the character Spike, is very offbeat, and he oftentimes has his shirt off, and he's like a model. And that is the character that Tim plays. So he's shirtless through like most of this show, and in like tiny little briefs and things. This is at a time that he was doing a lot of CrossFit, apparently. I read the playbill to find his bio, and it was just made me so sad, because it said, I wanted to do theater, and I had been out of the game for a long time, but my wife encouraged me to get back into theater. And I'm just thinking, this selfless act by her, where she was like, it's okay, you can go. Because if you've ever been in community theater, it's that you go every single night from like 6 to 10 p.m. because you're trying to avoid people's jobs. So that would mean that she worked as a nurse, or was in nursing school at that time, and then took care of the kids at night so he could go do this thing that was like a passion project that paid him zero money. And I just thought, gosh, that is just sickening to read that.
So,
do you have a photo, Jay, you can pull up of him now?
Yeah, I think I can. Let me, well, before I do, actually, what I'm going to show next is, in addition to being a jokester on the Family Feud, you can get a better kind of look of him now. When he was on the old TikTok, he liked to tell some jokes, guys. If you didn't know this, he had a TikTok account, which is up. Kerri sent it to me. I looked. It's private, but it's still there. He told jokes, and this is this is kind of what he looks like now. So let me.
What's his handle? Like large man or something?
Something. I don't know if it comes up.
He's huge. He's very tall and very big.
So here's
whole gang of
here's
mimes.
Him telling dad
Once
jokes.
got attacked by a whole gang of mimes. They did some really unspeakable things to me.
Let me start that again. So this is his TikTok.
Once got attacked by a whole. Once got attacked by a whole gang of mimes. They did some really unspeakable things to me. So at a party, my girlfriend told me to stop being an idiot. Just be yourself. I looked at her and said, you better make up your mind.
You guys are going to be shocked that this TikTok was not successful.
Why did the Mexican man take anxiety medication?
Oh, no.
I'll wait. Think about it. Nothing?
Oh, no.
To help with Hispanic attacks.
So
I did not like this guy.
You're welcome.
That was That was his TikTok, guys, and that's kind of what he looks like now. You saw him before. I don't even know what. So that's kind of who we're dealing with, guys. I know Shannon had me pull up this page because this is what the defense. They're floating a prowler theory, is what they are floating here. Basically, we've come across evidence that suggests there were individuals stalking out the neighborhood in the week leading up to the murder. Tim's defense lawyer Casey Snack told Fox Digital News, Quincy PD, to our knowledge, has never followed up with identified or even investigating the complaint. We are working with investigators to identify the person or persons we have pictures and video of. So that's interesting. They have pictures and video. Here's a picture with the family. Police arrested her estranged husband in March on charges including murder and home invasion causing injury. The couple, who shared 3 sons, were going through a divorce and lived in separate houses a mile apart. Oh man, a mile apart, being in a divorce.
Yeah.
That's prosecutors have characterized the crime as domestic violence, a claim Tim's Bliefnick's defense denies. Earlier this week, a probate court ruled that he could not use funds from his wife's estate tied up in the couple's divorce battle for his criminal defense. Yeah. If the court had ruled in Tim's favor, the 39-year-old would have been able to hire a private investigator himself, according to his attorney. However, the court granted $5,000 toward hiring a defense investigator at the option to double that amount if needed. Schnack told, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that, told Fox News Digital. If that isn't enough, the defense has the option to petition the court for more, she added. If he was granted bail, he would likely have been able to work from home to generate his own income, but was denied that right off the bat. Becky's family announced a GoFundMe campaign in support of her 3 sons for a scholarship in her name. So I'm not sure if that's still up, but I bet if you search her name,
is.
you could. It is? Okay, so guys, if you go on GoFundMe and search Becky Bliefnick's name, there's a GoFundMe, Bliefnick, in support of her 3 sons and for a scholarship in her name. So check that out if you want to help out there.
It's her, like her cousin or something. I interacted with her on Twitter a little bit, so it's completely vetted.
Good.
The kids were actually, the boys were allowed to be with their dad after all of this happened for a while, and I was wondering, why did DFCS not step in, Department of Family Services? We were wondering about that. But I believe the boys are probably with Becky's family, or the state is overseeing things. We don't know. Everything's sealed and protective. But Becky has a very supportive family. Tim's family seems fine. I don't see anything there. I have a feeling this is just breaking Tim's mom's heart, because she was very much in his corner after the arrest. And there were questions if Tim was going to be allowed to be at Becky's funeral. And I do believe they did let him attend, but there was a lot of questioning on Facebook about, should Tim even be allowed at the funeral, and should he be allowed to be with the boys? There's a case going on in Minnesota. Madeline Kingsbury has been missing for more than a month now. And in that case, we believe her partner, the father of her kids, possibly did something, but we don't have any evidence or proof right now. He's not in jail. And those boys are not with him. They are with her family, and there's an ongoing court battle going on right now about where do those kids go, because in these cases, the kids are basically orphaned because their mother is missing or dead, and then their father is, presumed guilty.
Right. So,
Well,
babe, go ahead.
It always troubles me when they have that window of time with their children afterwards, because it makes me think of the Josh Powell, Susan Powell situation, where they were pretty sure that he did something to her, and then he blew up his house with his children in it too. Because a lot of times I feel like they are going to commit family annihilation And so, yeah, it's awful to read that the kids were with him for those, few weeks. I bet her family was on pins and needles the whole time.
They were working together, so they had eyes on the kids. So in that case, I feel like they were, I think they wanted to believe the best about Tim, and maybe they still do. I mean, with everything sealed, these families maybe don't even really know any more than us. On my end, when we went through early on after my father's arrest, we did know more than the media. FBI let us know some things that first weekend, and then the public defenders, my father had a public defenders team, they stepped in and were very victim supportive and really helped my family through the process. And they would have helped us even way more than we allowed. We were just really stubborn Midwest people. So, but in my father's case, he pled guilty. So we didn't have to go through a long, prolonged trial. That would have completely altered our life again if we had. But there are behind the scenes things going on in these ongoing cases with these families. Hopefully, that you just don't see with the public. Like, I still, 18 years out from my father's arrest, I still work with Wichita detectives at times on things that I'm not ever really going to be talking about, or you're not ever going to see publicly. You don't see those relationships that victims and survivors have, or hopefully have. The good law enforcement, the good DAs, the good public defenders, all good defense attorneys, they work really hard behind the scenes for families like mine, and you just don't see it.
And they're overworked. The caseload. We're just talking to Bob Mott about that. They have it's just one case is up, then there's another case up, then there's another case up, and they're trying to manage all that. It seems like it's almost like a thankless job. But for you guys asking, Becky was 41 years old. Timothy was 39 years old. He was a graduate of Quincy University, where he played football for 4 years and majored in criminal justice. He was the general manager of Quincy Recycle at a recycling facility, but has been with the company in one role or another for 11 years. It was posted before the couple had the third son. Just trying to see if there's any information.
We Jay and I were talking about football. Like, there's some questions. Are guys like these that are turning violent, sort of on a dime or over years, like kind of degressing? Are they dealing with CTE? You would have to. I'm not going to be able to, like, the football injury.
The head injury.
The head injury. It's a long word, and now I've lost what CTE stands for. But if you Google it, they're looking at that even with, like, the mass shooter in Louisville, because he played sports and he was wearing a helmet to play basketball even. And
Wow.
his parents are actually donated his brain to the research to find out if he has the CTE that football players have. And there's been some questions. Does Tim have that? Now, it's not an excuse, but it's an explanation, especially when you're seeing people that, maybe you see how he was like this family man, and then, like, the pandemic happened, but does he have some kind of brain injury, like TBI?
Right. I mean, just by looks, he looks like a completely different person. It's pretty striking. So yeah, I don't know, guys. So, like we said, it's the information it's pretty limited because of the gag order. So, jeez, that's a motorcycle. So I hope we answered questions you had. I don't know if there's any questions that we could try to answer, but oh, there it is. Chronic traumatic encephalopathy. I get that right. But I don't know, guys. Are there any questions that we didn't answer that maybe we could try to? Please check out Kerri's book. I put it in. If you're in Discord, it's in the channel. That's people we know or guests that come on. So please check it out. And remember, tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Dateline, guys. We got to check it out. Shannon already has the Alexa notification, so we will be for sure checking that out. But did you guys have any questions? We could try to answer that. Maybe we didn't. But again, it's very limited in the amount of stuff that's out there because of the gag order. And again, this is starting. Monday is supposed to be jury selection, and then Tuesday it starts. 60 to 70 witnesses. We don't know how old the kids are exactly, but if you could see in this picture, they're not older kids. They're younger kids, guys. So, when was Family Feud? Family Feud
like 20, like 2020, 19, 20, somewhere in there.
2019, I think, right?
Yeah, they taped it in 19, and it went on in, I believe, February of 2020.
So pre-pandemic again. I have a feeling the pandemic just did something to this guy too, and I imagine the pandemic really intensified domestic violence situations and financial situations. And, the kids didn't have school, and we were all working from home, and a lot of people were sick. It really amplified things. I know they were teaching domestic violence victims, like hand signals. So like if I was in a situation and I was on a Zoom, I could signal with my hand to like Jay or Shannon, that I needed help so you're not speaking, there's so much that's happened because of the pandemic. I mean, it's completely altered my life. So, it seems like violent crime has just gone off the hook, since everybody came out of quarantine. I'm sure with the economy, I'm sure it's a factor, with the mass shootings and everything. I think in time we'll probably see it more, correlate it, but there's something not right in this country, and I don't know what it is.
For sure. It makes sense. I mean, the pandemic and all this stuff, you're right. I mean, it seems like every day, obviously, you turn on and there's a shooting of some sort. So it's just crazy. So I think there was a question why it went so fast. He requested a speedy trial. Is that why we're going so fast? Or that's just... He didn't?
There was something I sent you said that there was an Illinois law that you have to have a trial within 90 days if there's no bail, no bond.
Right.
Yeah, that's Illinois, guy. That's the law. It was like 90 days or something like that. That it had to be done within that amount of time. So that's why it's going so fast. I don't know if there were any.
The restraining orders do we know why the restraining orders were constantly filed? No, because there's a gag order on everything, which means that we can see that they were filed. We can see when they were closed, and that's all we can see, and who the plaintiff and defendant are, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. And we can't, very, very early on, like the first day news that she had been killed, there were like public records being posted of like some financials and that there was a restraining order, but there really isn't anything in there. There was just a big outcry of people like talking to the Quincy Police Department in Facebook saying, hey, this is Tim, this is domestic violence. And then all these primarily women were speaking up about their own domestic violence situations. And they were complaining about the court. I don't remember what county Quincy is in, but they were complaining specifically about that county's court system with domestic violence cases and restraining orders. And it was just like a wall of women complaining about the same judges and the same like family court system and things in that specific county. I don't know if anything's been done about that. I know the media was trying to like kind of work some of that, but I don't know if anything's really developed or being changed, but hopefully maybe something will positive come out of this.
For sure. Guys, I just put in, Kerri has a buy me a coffee link, so I just put it in. If you want to support Kerri, please check it out. I'm going to get the book now too. Let me get that in there now too. That's on Amazon. Kerri, I can't thank you enough for coming on here. And like I said, since I started doing this, you've been so supportive, and I really appreciate you. So, me and Shannon obviously do. So we really appreciate you coming on with us.
Well, you guys have been really supportive and fun. And I think it was you, or maybe I was telling Brew Crime, I appreciate people that just normalize me and see me as Kerri or see me what I'm doing now and don't just want to pick my brain about my dad. I can talk about any aspect of it, but I'm really, really ready to like use that and apply it to new cases and advocate because things are all resolved with my dad. I mean, everybody like most people want to talk to me about my father, but like right now I'm trying to work missing persons cases and things like Becky's situation and work with the media and then keep healing on my own. So like I'm trying to move forward and people like you guys help me because you normalize me and you treat me like a normal person. And that's huge. And so when somebody treats me normal, even just through Twitter or even just through public interactions or something, I notice that and I respond to it and respect it because it's part of my healing journey, honestly, to just have people that just want to talk to me,
Right.
and not just, okay, she's BTK's daughter. We were talking about that last night on Surviving the Survivor, that Joel Waldman was pointing out that, most of my headlines still are BTK's daughter. Like I have a name. I
Right.
used to push back at the journalists like, hey guys, I have a name. I don't even bother now. There's no point. But like at some point, when is that headline not going to say BTK's kid?
Right.
Right, and I mean, clearly, you were just talking about you got the juice now. You're starting to, you're getting the power. You're a victim advocate. You have context. You're getting it out. So, guys, help her with that. She has Twitter. I should have said that. I've been going to it this whole time. Go to her Twitter, retweet. It helps, guys. At Kerri Rawson, KerriRawson. Retweet the cases. It helps, guys. It helps. Any little bit. Facebook, you don't realize like all this stuff is algorithm, and it's all like any little thing you do, whether it's buying the book or whatever, just a retweet or a like, it helps us all. So, Shannon, you gonna say something?
Yeah, but there's going to be a motorcycle, I think, coming back. Good grief. We really don't live on a drag strip, but sometimes it sounds like we do. I was just going to say, you become a New York Times best-selling author. Like, to me, that's so amazing. And then they're just like, BTK's daughter. I'm like, no, she's so smart. She does all these things. So I just will say that last night. I was like, why are they saying that? Don't call her that.
Like, so I was speaking of Kohberger was the first case I was I was asked to apply my knowledge to something. I had never been asked before. And I had my nose in Kohberger down in these insane rabbit holes. So I was actually able, because I'm pretty strict with myself. I will not come on and be content if I don't at least know my stuff, because I was being asked after Kohberger to go do that on Valo and stick with that for weeks. And I said, look, this is a brand new case to me. I have no idea what's going on in Valo. There's people that are experts on it because they've covered it for years, right? Or Murdoch, because they've covered it for years. So for me to like catch up, I was like, do you know how much time that's going to take, how consuming that's going to be? And I'm still not going to be anywhere near the level of other people you're bringing on, and because I'm volunteering my time most of the time. There's really nothing for me to advocate with Valo, right? Like there's nothing,
right.
There's people that can cover it. There's really nothing that can be advocated there. Somebody like Becky, her story needs to be advocated for. So that's where I'm trying to learn, where to shift my time, because I don't want to come on and be a talking head if I don't have something to add to it. Right? Like it's not worth anybody's time for me to do that. And I was going to say, we were talking about amplifying missing persons. There's so many of them. None of us can keep up. There's tons of teams of missing person advocates, nonprofits, everything. Everybody tries to cover them, but especially men, like young men or any like person of color, they do not get the analytics with the media. It's ridiculous. And so if anytime you just see a missing person flyer, if you can just retweet it, or if you have the time, grab that photo, download that photo of that missing person flyer, and then go put it on your socials, because then that amplifies it more. but it's also, I know, time consuming. So usually just even retweeting gets it out there, retweeting that hashtag. But like yesterday, I was covering a missing woman in Texas just a little bit. So all I do is make an alert. I post the info and then I copy that to Facebook and then I move it over to Instagram. And so that gets it on 3 socials and that gets it out to probably about 40,000 people, just me taking that time. But the reality is there's no way any of us can keep up with this stuff. It's just, there's just too much.
Right.
I see that. Oh,
I was just going to say, people are asking, guys, it's at Kerri Rawson, KerriRawson. And I also wanted to, when we were researching this and Kerri was sending me stuff, another Twitter that you want to check out is Rose. Here. It's 901 Lulu, Lulu. She is missing persons and true crime. She has a great account. She's doing, same thing. So, like, Kerri said, you retweet this stuff. It helps. It helps a lot. And I think someone in the chat just asked, is there a particular case you're working on now that you want us to anything you want us to take a look at that we can help with or send out?
Well, the one Rose has right there is the Texas woman, Madeline Panchoa. It did get into the People magazine, so it is getting some national coverage, but she's been missing for probably over a week now in Midland, Texas. So here's one thing with missing people, especially with young women, if they leave their cell phone behind, it's not good, unfortunately. You always want the best for these families. You want the best. You want these people to be alive, but you start seeing that pattern because women do not leave their phones and their purses behind. And so when the media is reporting, hey, this person left their phone behind and their purse behind, unfortunately, we sort of know as a community where this is headed. You try to be real sensitive. I try to always be real sensitive with that things. And I try to source back to credible media. That's one of the things I try to do just because of being in my family situation. So you will see me linking back, and I'm often linking back to journalists I'm actually working with, or if they're not covering it, like I was trying to get somebody on Madeline yesterday, they weren't picking it up yet. I'll go back to local, and then if that's not good enough, I'll just keep looking. So I just Google search whatever I'm on, and then search by date, and then you can set Google News alerts. So if say you want to keep up with Rebecca's case here, set a Google News alert and it'll email you every day. So I literally have one for myself and it's pinging me when I'm news. I pretty much ignore it, but you can set that way. That's like, if you're trying to keep up with several cases or something, set Google News alerts and they'll ping you. And you set it for once a day and it'll only ping you if something new pops up. And you can set as many as you want. You can put Tim's name in or anybody's name in, and that's one way to manage what I call the churn. Shannon, somebody said you should watermark your timeline because you did a lot of work on that. So go watermark that before somebody steals it.
I will. Yes, it is mine, and I will watermark it. I wanted to make the squares are not all the same size, and it's driving me crazy. But so I need to do that. But I was going to point out your association with Catch Lisk as well, because I know you have a relationship with them, and they have a map that they're. Mm-hmm. And if you could just tell a little bit about that, that would be amazing.
So if you go, you'll have to read the handle, Jay, because I'm bad with it off the top of my head. But it's the them. Catch Long Island Serial Killer, Catch LISK on Twitter. Their pinned tweet is an insane map that they put insane hours in of missing persons cases, and they pull the actual case files from National Missing Children's and adults, and they keep up with everything, and then they mark them by by gender and race and equality rights. Yeah, that's it. So if you go, their Google Maps is open source. If you like, you probably should bookmark that if you're involved at all with advocacy or missing persons. And
Wow.
like, they've hand put all of that in.
Wow.
And so I was just talking to them about Oklahoma, because there's some really insane shit going on in Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss on here, but
you are more than welcome. I'm cursing
Let
like
it fly,
a sailor.
girl.
You curse all you want. We welcome it.
So there's like a lot of missing people in Oklahoma, and so they went and they're putting those in. They cannot keep up with this, but if like you're curious about who is missing in your community, one thing that some people do when they're wanting to volunteer and advocate is sometimes they get involved in nonprofits, but they stay local. So like literally you could just focus on your county or your city or your state. And some people do like missing person Mondays. And so on Monday, they highlight a missing persons case. That's like one way to manage it. Or you could have cold case Tuesdays or domestic violence Wednesdays or mass shooter Thursdays or whatever floats your boat. Like what happens here is that there's so much crap going on that we all get overwhelmed. And if we all can learn to work together better and communicate together and cover things, because nobody can cover everything, nobody can advocate for everything. There's a lot of things that fall in the cracks, but if everybody just does a little bit of a part as a team and stop fighting, like stop arguing and fighting and all that crap on Twitter, like just go do something positive, please.
We are all about that. We try to keep it positive on Twitter, on YouTube, on all our social media. This community, like, really, we get it. We try to keep it that way. So, and people were just saying you're now officially a member of JBO Nation, so we can't thank you enough. We're going to support you guys. Make sure you check out the book. Make sure tonight, 9 p.m., guys, Eastern Standard Time, Dateline. Check it out. It's going to be awesome. I don't know, Kerri, was there anything else you wanted to plug or talk about before we go?
No, I mean, I guess, like, so you're starting, if you want to tell them, remind them again when you're covering this trial and then what you have going on, that would be good.
Yeah, just guys, so this is going to be, according to the article, this is going to be on TV, and I can't imagine that Court TV or Law and Crime aren't going to cover it. Guys, I can't give you the webpage for this map because it's like a huge Google map. You got to go to the Twitter at catch CATCH_LISK, and then they have the link in their bio to click on it. So guys, next week, Monday is supposed to be jury select for this case, and then Tuesday is going to be the trial. And I want to cover the whole thing during the day. It'll be Central Standard Time, obviously, so it's like an hour behind. But we're going to cover it here, and it's going to be 60 to 70 witnesses. It's going to be a doozy, guys. So please check us out there. And then I think that's it. So, guys, oh, by the way, I'm going to end this stream. Then I'm going to start a new stream where we go back and watch the Richard Merritt case. So I'll end this, and then we'll go there because I want this to be a standalone stream because I really appreciate Kerri coming on. I think we gave a lot of good information. And, yeah, that's it. So, Kerri, again, I can't thank you enough. And I think that's it. Goodbye, everyone. Have a good day.
Bye.
Thank you.